Welcome to an introductory lesson on reading comprehension questions. In this lesson, we'll examine some basic features of reading comprehension questions, some common myths associated with these questions, and the skills that these questions test. Okay, to begin, about 1/3 of the questions in the verbal section of the GMAT will be reading comprehension questions. For each reading comprehension question, a passage appears on the left-hand side of the screen and a related question appears on the right-hand side. Your task is to answer the questions based on what is stated or implied in the passage. Please note that if the passage is too long to fit on the screen, a scroll bar will allow you to scroll the text up and down. Now, in the verbal section of the GMAT, you will likely see 4 reading comprehension passages, and each passage typically has 3 or 4 questions associated with it. However, you will see only one question at a time. Some passages are short, and other passages are long. The short passages are typically accompanied by 3 questions, and the long passages are typically accompanied by 4 questions. In most cases, you will get 3 short passages and 1 long passage, but you may get 2 of each. Content-wise, the passages typically discuss topics related to business, natural sciences, as well as social sciences and humanities. Please note that no prior knowledge of the material is required. All of the information needed to answer the questions can be found within the passage. Now, there are 2 common myths about reading comprehension questions that can cause students to develop ineffective strategies. The first myth is that reading comprehension questions are designed to test your ability to read quickly. This is not true. Students who believe that this is a speed reading test make the mistake of reading each passage at a lightning pace. In fact, they read so quickly that they fail to comprehend much, if any, of the information. As a result, they cannot answer any questions and are then forced to reread the passage. As you can see, there's some irony in this belief because it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you're forced to reread the same passage several times, you need to do so quickly, in which case it actually becomes a speed reading test. As you will later see in this module, I will encourage you to read the passages at a relaxed pace. Okay, the second myth is that reading comprehension questions test your ability to memorize minute details within the passage. This is also not true. Students who believe this myth make the mistake of trying to memorize or record too many facts. This not only wastes precious time, but also prevents you from seeing the bigger picture conveyed in the passage. Now, as you might guess, it would be unreasonable to test students on their speed reading skills or their memory, since these skills have little bearing on one's ability to perform well in a graduate program. Now, if reading comprehension questions are not designed to test speed reading skills or memory, what are they testing? Well, to begin, reading comprehension questions are designed to test your ability to understand written English. Now, this does not mean that you'll be asked to define specific words and terms. Instead, you will be asked questions that test your understanding of the overall meaning of a passage. Reading comprehension questions also test your ability to see the logical relationships between facts and concepts. For example, you may be asked to evaluate the relative importance of certain premises within a passage. Finally, reading comprehension questions test your ability to draw inferences. In other words, you must be able to determine what conclusions can be drawn from the information presented in the passage. Now, all of this should seem reasonable. For students to perform well in a graduate program, they should be able to understand written English, see the relationships between facts and concepts, and they should be able to draw inferences based on what they have read. So, given all of this, what is the best way to prepare for reading comprehension questions? Well, I hope that the remaining videos in this module will answer that question.